Hey, it's End-Time Watchman. I'm back. I'm going to pronounce two names, and I want you to think about those two names through all of what I'm fixing to tell you. One of them is James Traficant Jr., representative from Ohio. And let's see here what else I've got in store here. The other one is Rod Blagojevich. I'm going to read about the bankruptcy of the United States. Congressional Record, March 17, 1993, Volume 33, page H1303. Now hold on just a minute and let's read this. Mr. Speaker, we are now in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in world history, meaning the U.S. government. Now we're talking 1993 that this speech was given. Okay? And by the way, just to clarify something, not long after this speech, guess what? He was framed on trumped-up charges and wound up in federal prison. Let me drive upstate there for a minute because I got a lot in my mind and I've been digesting. I believe it was December the 8th. Rod Blagojevich suspended all ties with Bank of America, saying that Chicago and Illinois, the whole state, would not do business with Bank of America anymore because they railroaded the workers at the friggin' window factory. Look it up. December the 8th, he makes the statement. December the 9th, wow, we have charges brought up that he tried to sell the Senate seat. Mr. Traficant comes against the Federal Reserve and all these others, as I'll read. Right after he does that, bam. Charges are brought against him, bam, he goes to federal prison. What are you saying, End-Time? I'm saying open your eyes. Open them up. Wide open. Get them wide open, man. Is what I'm saying. I knew back in 1993. I'm going to tell you something. I said, oh yeah, in 1993, I wasn't even living for God. And I could see that he'd been railroaded. Mr. Traficant. I understand he wore his hair up and all this, that, and other. I understand he was an unconventional person. But you got to understand something. The man was telling the truth, and I told my wife, I said, they fitting the railroad, they're going to get him for what he said. But let me just read it real quick. But I want you to think about Rod Blagojevich and what took place with him. Remember, I watched the whole deal yesterday. The unanimous consent, every one of them, bam, get his ASS out of here, bam, 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 bam. And the line goes on and on. But here's the thing about it. I looked up every one of those senators from Illinois. I looked at their earmarks and all that. And by the way, an earmark is nothing but, an earmark is something to buy themselves a seat back again. Which is, if he did try to sell the Senate seat, he done no different. You better hear in time. Mr. Rod done no different than they do by earmarks, because it puts it where they want it to the boys that get the money and they build the stuff, so they put the money in to re-elect them. There's no difference. There's no difference. But they have framed this man, and by the way, he could not, under the Constitution, by the way, the Constitution's dead, I told you that, he couldn't call, now I'm going to try to be careful. He couldn't call that dual citizen Jew, Rahm Emanuel. He couldn't call Obama. He couldn't call JJ Jr. You get that? Good time. You remember that? JJ? Jesse Jackson Jr. He couldn't call him. He couldn't call none of them that spoke to him on the phone that had any relation to the Senate seat, because you know what? They're just as filthy as any other one. They all are. And I listened to every one of the testimonies, y'all. And God knows I wasn't going to get on this, but I might as well roll with the flow. I listened to all the testimonies of bringing back integrity and doing this, and the Constitution brought up over and over and over again by them bunch of friggin' idiot senators. Okay? But yet I looked it up on the earmarks and looked it up on their expenses, looked it up on their salaries. Legistorm, Legistorm, excuse me, and go check the salaries, the earmarks, the foreign gifts. Just look at the state of Illinois and see if their butt ain't just as crooked or crookeder than Mr. Rod. See, I mean, look, there's friggin' two sides to every coin, baby. But that's the hypocrisy of them stupid idiots. But you know what? The people that accept the hypocrisy are dumber than the people that deliver it. You see? That's a layout of what's coming on these videos I'm fixing to make. Go look up the Baptist preacher. Oh yeah, black Baptist preacher. Go look him up. Go look up the white guy this, and he was standing there and almost in tears. Let's see what earmarks he sponsored. Because the earmark gets them reelected. It brings the money back to their states. They get the kickbacks under the table, but you never see it or know about it. Unless you got a mind to learn. Tell me the difference! And I'm not talking to a politician, because up yours, I could care less about you anymore. I'm talking to the American citizen. The difference is nothing. There's no difference in it. Other than when Mr. Rod went against the bankers, he crossed the line, you see. When Mr. Trafficant went against the federal government, the wasteful spending, and the Fed, he crossed the line. It's two peas in a pod that wanted to make a difference, that are just human beings, and one of them's finna be in a halfway house, the other one may be fixing to go to prison, and the American people sit by and say, well, that ain't my problem. And you go ahead, buddy. Like I said, you go ahead. And like I said, this is an introduction for Rod Blagojevich and James Trafficant. The parallels that are so strikingly similar, it ain't even funny. When you buck against the system of the New World Order, even if you're a representative or a governor, they will trump charges up on you and throw you out. And we know, hey, every one of them in Illinois voted to put him out. Just because the FBI's got a friggin' tape. I mean, my God, do you not understand technology today? Do you not understand that they can make those things which are not appear as though they are? Don't you understand that you might ought to sit back and before you draw a conclusion of guilty, like they did on James Trafficant Jr., and Forrest drawed on Rod Blagojevich, wouldn't you think you might want to sit back and let's give him due process? No, not when you screw with the bankers and not when you screw with the Fed. You are toast, buddy. End Time Watchman, I shall be back to get into the meat and potatoes of this in just a minute. Don't you touch that dial. I know it's Friday, but you ain't got to go looking at some kind of old dirty movie. Why don't you listen to old Redneck just for a few more minutes? Don't you touch that dial. I'll be back.